The Colossal Tussle Podcast, episode number 24, and it is Spring Stampede 1997. It is I, Diamond Dallas Johnson, alongside Macho Man.
Just John.
Snap into a Slim Jim. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right.
Surviving?
Yeah. Another week. I mean, it's been like 3 for podcast world.
Yeah.
But in our real life, it's just another week. Just another week. This time we are in Podcast City, baby.
I'm not even going to justify that with a risk.
As we are deep in WCW nostalgia 1997, we are taking a turn that I didn't even think about. I didn't even consider doing Spring Stampede 1997. We were going to jump right into Slamboree.
Yep.
Then we were going to jump all the way into like near Halloween Havoc, near October. I was going to cut out all of this non-Piper Hogan bit.
But we had to do a little detour.
Yes, and I feel that we are just going to ride the wave of momentum from here on in. I have made the executive decision. We're just going to review all the pay-per-views because we have quite the few anomalies starting tonight. We have 4 corners match for the number 1 contendership for the world title involving 2 tag teams.
We're going to get to that later.
We have no Roddy Piper. Ric Flair is not wrestling, though he is on the show.
Yeah.
No Hollywood Hogan. No Scott Hall. Getting into that a little bit later.
Yep.
Arn Anderson has just undergone neck surgery for the paralyzing condition that would ultimately end his career. And we have a no DQ match in this Western-style civilization of WCW Macho Man, Randy Savage, Diamond Dallas Page in the main event. What's going on?
Yeah, no, you put it perfectly, man. This is a very weird pay-per-view, especially when you look at all the ones we reviewed, because most of the faces that we've seen up to now are gone, and it's kind of like I don't want to say the B team, but it's sort of like the B team's coming in to take over, and we'll get into it, but it's a very interesting pay-per-view. Exactly. In the heart of Mississippi.
Yeah. And coming off of this pay-per-view, just as a teaser for everybody, because I decided, I was going to skip pay-per-views, but then I started to take a look at the pay-per-views and to tease what we're heading into. We have football players wrestling in action. We have basketball players wrestling in action, in main events, no less.
Yep.
We have a Sturgis motorcycle rally in which WCW gets $0 at the gate, by the way. We have War Games. And then we have Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc. I mean, we have quite a few things.
We also have the feud of that year with Macho Man and
Diamond Dallas Page.
This is kind of where it starts off, but apparently it gets
red hot, my brother, red hot. And this is the opening salvo. But before we get into our DeLorean, we must first step out. Before we get into that nostalgia, we need to be here in present day, and we need to talk about a wrestling legend who has indeed passed on, and we are talking about an icon, not just in Japanese wrestling, but arguably in worldwide wrestling in general,
and then sports in general. Honestly, of course, we're talking about Antonio Inoki, founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling. In his heyday, a bit crazy at times,
very crazy,
but one of the most innovative people in the industry. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you probably have heard of his fight with Muhammad Ali, the 2 matches he had with Ric Flair in North Korea to a sold out venue, but and honestly, that's one of the matches I fucking absolutely love, and I recommend people watch, because to see a crowd that, one, is forced to be there, and two, has no idea what the hell is going on, because most of them, I think all of them, have never seen wrestling before. And for Inoki and Ric Flair to just put on a clinic and make the crowd actually like start cheering and, you know, and kind of under getting what the fuck's going on. Great fucking match that I recommend people watch, and just an overall just absolute legend.
Yeah, it's sad to see him go. A real pillar of Japanese wrestling. Of course, kind of breaking off from Giant Baba and All Japan Pro Wrestling, and him going on to found New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was a great shooter. Has trained a enormous amount of people, some of the greatest in the world of Japanese wrestling today. An all-around pretty great wrestler. Politician, apparently.
Politician,
which I had no idea about. I mean, he's had his hand in a lot of pots, shall we say, in his illustrious career. So,
and you know, there were the early days of New Japan where his booking was kind of whatever, but at the end of the day, we wouldn't have New Japan if it wasn't for him, so we got to give him his credit.
Exactly. So it's sad to see him go, but he's left quite the mark. A Hall of Famer in pretty much every aspect of pro wrestling, I believe. The WWE Hall of Fame, the Sports Illustrated, no, not that, Dave Meltzer's magazine.
Whatever his little thing. But you can't you can't have a wrestling Hall of Fame without putting him in it, you know, so, you know, sad news for Japanese wrestling and wrestling in general, but, you know.
I don't know what he's done in the last 10 years. I don't think he's done anything. I think he's been pretty much retired.
I think he did the politician stuff for a little bit, but he hasn't done anything in the last.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet. I mean, rightfully so. He's one of those guys that seems like once he was done, he was actually done. Yeah,
I think we're so used, especially in the wrestling community. We're so used to these old guys just sticking around to the last. But he I think once he retired, like, he'll make an appearance here and there, but
not taking the Ric Flair route of life. Did you see that he says he'll basically never retire? He suspects he will never retire.
Yeah, I told you that. Like, as soon as he did his old last match, and people paid to see it, he's like, I'm never leaving this.
And then, oddly enough, Ricky Steamboat will be coming out of retirement.
But apparently they won't fight each other. Apparently Ricky's like, I'm not doing that.
No, you can't. You can't. Like, I think Ricky understands the body of work that those two put in their prime. And even relatively past their prime. Like, in 94, they were kind of bad, but they were still putting on, like, good matches. To do something now would be just inexcusable.
Because I think it was Flair that was kind of going for, like, let's do this one more time. And Ricky's like, no.
But he will do a 6-man tag.
Of course, so let the young guys do their thing, then tag in.
Do a couple chops. Flying chop for victory. You're done.
But watching him and Flair at this age would just be...
Ric Flair would die. I fully predict that man's gonna die in the ring. Like, I am almost convinced he's going to pick somebody that has to, that he will feel compelled to wrestle at their pace.
One bad body slam.
And that's it for him. That's it. We got sidetracked. Rest in peace, Antonio Inoki. Wishing the family and friends the condolences here at the old Colossal Tussle with your Colossal Tussle tandem. Rest in peace, Mr. Inoki. AEW. Yes.
They're into some backstage troubles.
Oh, there's turmoils aplenty. Where do we start? The all-out brawl-out with CM Punk and the Elite, a dog, a steel, a partridge in a pear tree. Somebody got bit and it wasn't by an animal. many suspensions, many titles stripped, but now just yesterday, before Andrade was set to put his career on the line against 10 in a mask versus career match, he has a backstage scuffle with one Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And he was given the boot. He was sent packing, and Sammy Guevara got the main event.
Yeah, and then you also have FTR calling out Tony Khan. So it's been a lot of backstage turmoil in AEW right now. I'm not sure what the end of the year is going to look like for them, especially like looking at their roster, having all these people either get suspended or sent home.
Yeah.
You know, there's rumors that Andrade wants out. There's a bunch of people that kind of want out.
It seems so.
As soon as Triple H took the helms of WWE.
Yes.
And enough months have gone by that it's like, okay, he's actually in charge. Like Vince isn't going to pop up anymore. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people trying to go back. Their women's division is atrocious right now. So
it does seem pretty bad.
It is very bad. So I don't know what the end of the year is going to look like for AEW. This is the first time throughout their 3-year existence where I'm like, okay, shit's getting a little shaky now.
Yes, very, very shaky indeed. And I have only Tony Khan to blame. Because I was thinking to myself, you know, like when CM Punk was just going in that verbal tirade and Tony Khan is just sitting there, I'm like, could you imagine if it was Vince sitting there?
Yeah.
Like if it was CM Punk at a media scrum of some sort, press conference for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon sitting there, you think any of that shit would have happened? Also, absolutely not.
And then people have been telling him for a while that the media scrum thing is kind of a dumb idea. Like not a terrible idea, but it's just so many things can go wrong, and he just keeps doing it. And that CM Punk shit was kind of like, see, we told you some shit like this would happen if you just let the media ask questions and let wrestlers speak from their heart, you know?
I like the idea of the media scrum because, I mean, they are supposed to be a bit more sports-based, and that's kind of like what would happen in a UFC or maybe like a football or something like that. They're supposed to be more sports-oriented. I totally get that. It's just, when you just let them kind of freewheel and deal and air dirty laundry.
Because the thing, too, that, like, it's a big difference between, like, the UFC or boxing and WWE is that, like, you know, UFC and boxing, like, not to use the, you know, whatever, but it's more real.
Fake! Oh, okay.
Right?
I thought you were going fake.
So, like, if I knock you out in UFC, like, you can't really say much because I knocked you out. But in WWE, even if I lose, I can still have an opinion, you know. So it gets pretty tricky when it comes to that, you know.
I'm curious where things are gonna go. It seems that Tony Khan the rumors are that he's not going to be issuing any more releases. He's not going to let anybody out of their contracts anymore, apparently. Which that'll go down well, I think.
Especially since he was the one that said that he wouldn't force anyone to stay.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
And then you have the whole ROH shit that, you know, every like 2 weeks, one episode of Dynamite just becomes ROH for some reason.
When are they going to land a TV deal for ROH? When are they going to get back on the ground there? It's a weird thing. I think he's kind of like a hoarder. And he's been given 60 days to clean up.
No, it's
it's kind of like that.
Like my thing with him, it's more like this is exactly what happens when a fan takes control of a business, right? Because he's a diehard wrestling fan.
Yes.
So he's just, you know, doing all this fantasy booking and, you know, purchasing all this content. And now it's starting to build up and get a little bit too much. And he probably doesn't have the business savvy or just the leadership skills to be like, okay, I can handle this, right?
Yeah.
You know, so
you got to manage all of these testosterone-filled men.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the internet has been saying for ages, oh, this guy should be the top guy, or this guy should be the top guy. And probably all of these people now believe it.
And now you built a promotion with all of the guys that people say should be top guys.
Yeah, and now not everybody can be top guys.
Exactly. So now you have 2 guys fighting for the championship, and you have like 9 others like, well, the internet says I should be in that match.
See, that's the problem. I think there's a lot of folks that are listening to the internet that have now just convinced themselves that, I should be the top guy.
Because WWE, like, it's a bigger company. So if they're like, hey, you're going to sit on the shelves for a little bit, you're happy to be like, you know, I'll wait my turn.
No.
Because it just has the history. It has actual leadership. It feels...
There's also like 6 different television shows that are all over the place.
But with AEW, since it's a smaller company, everyone thinks that they can just cut the line and be like, no, I'm top guy now. And it's like, well, we can't have 9 top guys.
Can't have 20 top guys. Can't do it.
Someone has to fight for these trios titles.
Yeah, we're creating all these belts and trying to make them all main event belts. And they can't be main event belts.
They have like 90 belts, and it's still not enough belts.
No.
Like, they have all these belts, all these champions, and there's still people like, well, where's my title?
Yeah. You know what's kind of irritating to me is like this whole the debates that I kind of hear about, like, oh, it's just ex-WWE guys coming in and taking the top spots and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, yeah, but they kind of earned their spot, though, didn't they? Like, John Moxley, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, you know, people of this nature, Chris Jericho, which helped, you know, take your company off the ground. I feel like they prove themselves as, like, draws. They go in the ring. They can make money. They're recognizable, yada, yada, yada. So it's like when you got all these other people that are like not proven commodities. Yeah. I still feel like you kind of have to work, you know?
No, it's just people looking for shit to be mad at. Because when AEW started with all the indie guys, people are like, oh, they need more star power. Then they go out and get star power. Then they're like, oh, it's all ex-WWE guys. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But like WWE has been like the only major game in town for the last 25 years.
Like, of course, everyone that's a free agent came from over there. Like, where else are they going to come from?
Yeah. And it's like, especially these guys, like, these guys are proven draws. Because, like, okay, like back in the 80s or the 90s, when, like, a Hogan, a Savage, a Piper would jump ship and they're, like, 12 years past their prime, when they were politicking and you know, like, trying to stay on top that way, I'd be kind of irritated, too. But, like, these guys that can actually go in the ring, that are actually, like, super talented, why are you getting angry at these guys?
Yeah, because that's the big, that I feel like that's the biggest difference, is that back in those years of the 90s, it was like, you know, past their prime or just dudes that didn't want to do the work of the other guys. But these, you know, the John Moxleys, the Chris Jerichos, even the Daniel Bryans, like, they've, you know, they put their time in. So they, like, if they're at the top of the company, it's because they're proven to be draws and they're actually working their ass off to maintain that spot, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, a lot of turmoil. The end of the year is going to be very interesting. I think in a year's time, probably even less than that, maybe even 6 months' time, there's going to be a purge of just a lot of folks from AEW going away. And that'll be interesting to see what the landscape of AEW's roster looks like in 6 months' time. So
and then listen, I want to see. There's a lot of people that want to, leave AEW, go to WWE because Triple H is in charge. I don't think it's going to be the way they, I think they're painting this picture. Again, the internet probably telling them like, oh, if they were over there with Triple H, he'll probably take care of them and this and that. I don't think this is what they want.
No, sir.
I think it's going to get really weird by mid next year.
Yeah.
It's going to get really...
I mean, it's still a WWE product.
Exactly.
It's still a WWE product, man.
And if you can't get over an AEW where the fans are more open to everything, what do you think is gonna happen when you go to WWE and now, there's investors and there's this and there's, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that think it's all roses over there and they're gonna go over there and then be in catering for
I will just leave us with this. Anybody that's like, oh, the grass is greener on WWE now, the Triple H is there. Logan Paul is challenging for the championship.
Yo.
Logan Paul.
Rampage doesn't seem that bad right now.
You want to talk the grass is green? The end of the first UK show in almost 30 years was Tyson Fury and Drew McIntyre having a sing-off.
Yeah.
The grass is still very much brown.
Just ask some guys like Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
There's a Ricochet. There's a lot of guys that are still,
So just before you want to talk turkey, actually watch the product from start to finish. Not just the QR codes in the background, but be that as it may. We're going to get back into the DeLorean. We're going to go back to better times.
Yeah, let's leave this mess behind.
Let's leave this mortal realm and enjoy some Spring Stampede 97. Spring Stampede 1997. April the 6th, 1997. From Tupelo, Mississippi in the Tupelo Coliseum, baby. Oh, yes. Let us first get in to the ratings war. I am very excited for this version of Would You Rather, Just John.
Okay, let's do it.
Because at one point, you are going to be tasked with a very tricky situation indeed. Coming off the heels of Uncensored, 1997, March 17th, Raw draws a 2.36 rating with Bret Hart versus Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship. Meanwhile, Nitro with a 3.56. And the main event of that segment is the Steiner Brothers versus Harlem Heat.
I'll go Steiner's Harlem Heat just because I don't like Sid.
All right. I will let you know, Psycho Sid did win the World Wrestling Federation Championship on this night.
Fucking hate that.
Yeah, thanks to interference from one Stone Cold Steve Austin, which would lead to Hart and Austin, of course, and their I Quit match at WrestleMania 13.
Okay.
So big moments there. March 24th, Raw scores a 2.5, and the main event segment there, an Undertaker interview. Meanwhile, Nitro.
Thought there would be more to that.
No. Meanwhile, Nitro scores a 3.0. The main event, a non-title match. Macho Man Randy Savage versus television champion Prince Iakea.
Oh, shit.
What would you rather?
Oh, shit. Oh, those both, I guess, Undertaker interview? I'll go see what he's talking about, what spooky stuff he's saying. Oh,
you
Lord.
wouldn't go with the Prince and Savage, would you? It was actually quite the exciting segment, I will say. Because,
the Undertaker one?
No. The Savage and Prince Iakea. Because, as I said, yes, non-television title match.
Mm-hmm.
In that match, I mean, Randy Savage dominates Prince Iakea. Of course, the NWO is all around ringside, and it's like a whole thing. And then Diamond Dallas Page comes down to a thunderous ovation, absolutely thunderous, fights off the world, gets to Randy Savage. It's like a whole big thing, a big scuffle ensues, the Nitro goes off the air. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's not going to do it for you. Undertaker interview instead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think I would enjoy that match at all. Well,
all right. March 31st, and our final stop before our pay-per-view here. Raw scoring a 2.69 as Bret the Hitman Hart takes on Rocky Maivia.
Oh.
Meanwhile, Nitro scoring a 3.49, the main event segment, a Nash and Six promo.
I'll go Bret. Bret, Rocky Maivia. I never even knew that they followed each other. That's dope as shit.
Indeed. So The Rock and Bret Hart had themselves a match in 1997.
Did you watch it? Was it good?
It was a fine match. It was perfectly fine. You know, nothing to throw your arms up and take your hat off for, but it was perfectly fine.
Okay.
I will say that it seems like Raw is steadily building in the ratings as we show here throughout this month, starting at a 2.3 and ending at a 2.6. So not a huge jump, but still a jump. Meanwhile, Nitro still sticking in that 3-point range, which is absolutely fantastic for the time period.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Nash and Six promo before this, I wanted to play it here because it's actually quite the fine promo. Basically, what Nash is talking about is that there's a splintering in the NWO because at this point, Hollywood Hogan is off with Dennis Rodman, off in Hollywood, doing their thing and all that stuff, and there's been quite a splintering in the NWO. Eric Bischoff has been ousted from power. Scott Hall is MIA, dealing with issues bigger than the sport of professional wrestling, says Kevin Nash, and it's actually quite a good promo. Let's play it here.
This isn't working. This thing ain't on, is it? Idiots. Garbage. All right. I've sat back here for 2 hours tonight. I'm about to puke. You know, the president has a State of the Union address every couple months. It's time the NWO had a State of the Union address. The only difference is I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what the hell's going on with the NWO right now. I'll tell you one thing, Kevin Nash and Six are here. And Scott Hall, people are wondering where Scott Hall is. Scott Hall's taking care of business, more important than professional wrestling right now. Now while Bischoff, Hogan, DiBiase, Vincent are all up there, and Rodman's little opening day movie shenanigans, we're here taking care of business. So you boys in Chicago, if you're watching, you better get focused. So I'll tell you something right now. I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting tired of sitting around having you guys take my time. I'll tell you right now, you don't want to get me mad, because I'm one person in this business that can stand alone. Is this thing even working? I don't even know. It's WCW. Go figure. I'll tell you something right now. Steiner brothers, big win tonight. Who cares? I'll tell you one thing. In Tupelo, Mississippi, Nash will be there. Whether Scott's there with me or not, it doesn't really matter. I'll be there. I'll take you on a loan. And all you Napoleons back there, you know who I'm talking about. All you guys that can't get on the adult rides because you don't make that height requirement. The only reason you people breathe is because I allow it. Yeah, I'll smash that camera. I'll tell you right now, as long as I got breath in my lungs, I'll fight WCW by myself.
And there you have it.
Yep.
There you have it. It was a fiery promo, and he ends off by saying if he has to, he will take on the entire NWO by himself. Throws everything down, Nitro goes off the air, and we are here at Spring Stampede. But just, John,
What's happening?
what time is it?
Oh, shit.
What's it all about, John?
It's all about the numbers.
It's all about the numbers. Oh! And what numbers we have, my good sir? Because here's the thing. Spring Stampede had a 2-year hiatus in WCW. The first ever Spring Stampede, which was considered to be one of the WCW's best pay-per-views of all time in 1994. There was a hiatus between 95 and 96, mainly because Eric Bischoff thought that there was too many country-themed pay-per-views all at once.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you had the Great American Bash, you had Slamboree, you had Bash at the Beat, and now you have like this Spring Stampede, yada, yada. So that was taken out of the calendar until they started having one pay-per-view a year. So I went and I did some digging for everything between 94 and 97 to see how it stacks up, what was changing in between the time period. So it's all about the numbers, starting with the attendance, 8,356. It is a sellout crowd. However, it is massively down from 1994, which drew 12,200 folks into that arena. In 94, the pay-per-view buys 145,000 buys, which gets themselves a 0.58, and that is up from 1994's 120,000 buys.
Yeah.
Finally, at the gate. Oh yes, the gate, the ticket sales, the merch, the moolah. $107,115, which is only slightly up by $115. 107,000 flat in 1994.
Right.
And those are the numbers. Were you hyped going into this show?
I was a little, just because the card looked really good. On paper, it looked really good.
Yes.
Everything. Especially, like, not so much, but because of what we've seen, because this pay-per-view is kind of like a little detour.
A little bit.
Like, most of the feuds aren't really continuing in this pay-per-view because they're off doing whatever they're doing.
Yes.
But it would, listen, we're going to get into it, but it was a very good pay-per-view nonetheless. Yeah.
Indeed. Starting off, of course, with Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain He-Man, and Dusty Rhodes on the desk. We are going to be having Mike Tenay joining us.
Thank God.
Yes, in just a moment's time. Indeed. Scott Hall is not here. For no reason given. No reason whatsoever. Nothing in kayfabe. They don't go the real life route and say that he's dealing with his demons. We get nothing. Could have done great with Dusty Rhodes here, saying he stuck his tail between his legs and he ran off. He's too afraid to fight the Steiners. Too afraid to fight them, baby. We didn't get any of that. Instead, it was just he's gone. He's not here tonight. And they declare, stupidly, that Kevin Nash cannot have a substitute. Nobody from the NWO can substitute in for the tag team title match here tonight. But Kevin Nash has declared that he wants a certain stipulation added, or he wants some demands met if he's going to go into a handicap match against the Steiner brothers. More on that later.
Yes.
How did you feel about the badass old Western set?
I can see why attendance was lower. Because if you look back to all the pay-per-views we've done,
Yes.
this just feels so out of place. It's
What are you talking about?
Like a couple episodes ago, we were reviewing a biker rally or some shit.
Yes.
And now we're in a saloon or some shit.
Listen, we have an old-style Western movie set, okay? We have some hay. We've got cardboard cutouts of cows. We have a grain mill. What's not to love here, Just John?
This feels like a fever dream.
What is not to love?
It's so weird.
I would take this set over our current sets any day. Any day.
Listen, if this was like the 80s, this would have been an amazing set.
No, this is the 90s. And it's an incredible set.
Not even it's 97. Like, we're almost at the 2000s.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be doing cowboys
This
and
is
hay.
unreal technology.
Paper mache cows.
Yeah, this looks like The Last of Us 2. This is the type of quality that we're into. Match number 1. Ultimo Dragon versus Rey Mysterio Jr. It is a grudge match, a rubber match, if you will.
Yep.
3-time, 3 pay-per-views. Once at Hog Wild last year in 96. Once at Starrcade in 1996. 1 man apiece, 1 fall victory. Here is the rubber match. No Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
Out with Ultimo Dragon. I was incredibly sad.
Well, he had to be in Akira's corner for the later match. He's a manager. I don't know why he can't just do both. But,
Exactly.
you know.
Bobby the Brain Heenan was out like 5 times at WrestleMania 3.
He could have done 2 matches.
Could have done anything.
You know?
Rey Mysterio, interesting nugget of information right out the gate here, was apparently a very close friends with a member from Friends, from the TV show Friends. Would you like to take a guess as to which he was close with? Even so much so that there was rumored dating, relationship, affairs, things of that nature. Would you like to take a guess?
Rachel?
It was indeed Jennifer Aniston.
Now, yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
Why did I use her TV name?
All right, well, that's all I really know her by.
Okay.
I had to Google her name.
Forgot she has a real actual name.
Yes. Rey Mysterio and Jennifer Aniston.
Okay.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio really liked her on Friends, and Jennifer Aniston really liked his Frankensteiner. So there you go.
That's some weird information I didn't think I need.
Well, now you have it.
All right.
Now you have it. Trivia night is about to get exciting.
Put that one in my back pocket.
Absolutely. Ultimo Dragon gets out an arm lock with a slam early on in the matchup. Rey Mysterio with a camel clutch, but gets hung up on the ropes. A very interesting counter there. A drop kick from Ultimo and a slam into an armbar. Spinning crucifix backbreaker by Ultimo Dragon, which gains him considerable momentum. There is a hard powerbomb directly after that into a stun gun type maneuver, which was very cool. Sleeper locked in. The crowd is rooting for Rey. The crowd was electric tonight.
Yeah, that's that. after our last pay-per-view where the crowd was a little bit
quiet.
Yeah. This was very refreshing.
Indeed.
They were on fire the entire pay-per-view.
Exactly. And they are 100% in Rey Mysterio's corner. They're telling the story of Ultimo Dragon almost being kind of off his game without the presence of the Sonny Bono.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For midway through the match, we cut to backstage to
of course.
Lee Marshall.
We're having an incredible match,
Yeah.
so let's cut back to an angle.
Who gives a fuck about these guys, right? Let's go straight to the back.
Exactly what we did last month. Why wouldn't it work a second time?
Lee Marshall goes to the back. He's trying to get an interview with Nash. Six opens the door. Tells him to fuck off.
That's right.
And he's like, okay, well, I guess we'll come back.
We'll be back.
And then we go back to the match, which I felt it's so disrespectful.
Pointless.
Because if he at least got the interview, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that he didn't get the interview, it's like, why would you interrupt the match for this? Oh my God.
Nonsense. A running powerbomb by Ultimo Dragon, a tombstone right after that. Gets a 2 because he pulls him up, playing into more of the story that he's a bit more cocky. He's not as focused when he's not with the Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
A spinning heel kick by Rey, finally lighting up the crowd. They were just waiting for Rey Mysterio to do something, but Ultimo Dragon gains the advantage again with some kicks into a surfboard stretch by the Dragon. Rey has to get out of the ring. He's got to get out of Dodge. He's taking too much of a whooping.
He's a breather.
Yes. Rey reverses a whip and sends Dragon into the guardrail. He gets ahead and continues his offense until a big leg drop from the top rope. But Rey gets drop kicked off the top rope and into the ring post head first. Good golly, Miss Molly. And then right back into the ring, he tries for a springboard moonsault only to get drop kicked mid-fudge in air. This is ridiculous. A giant swing, which I thought was pretty cool. It goes around for a few rotations, and then Dragon just falls, and the crowd laughs. Both men trading Frankensteiners and pins, but nobody can get the victory. Finally, Rey Mysterio manages to escape the Dragon suplexes, manages to roll up Ultimo Dragon for the win.
Yes.
How did you feel about this opener, sir?
Amazing fucking opener. This might be controversial, but I feel like this was my favorite out of their three. Yeah, this was definitely one of my favorites out of their three matches. Just an amazing again, WCW and their openers. Yeah, amazing. The only part I didn't like was the cut in. Yeah, the cut. Yeah. It kind of takes away from these like two amazing competitors, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great match. I preferred the Starrcade one that we've seen, just because I felt it had a bit more time. I think it got nearly 20 minutes, if not more. So they were able to tell quite the good story. But this match was absolutely fantastic as well.
The last sequence in this match was really, really fun. Yes. With Rey reversing out of everything and then getting the pin.
Yeah, fantastic. Where would you now rank it in the tiers of opening matches that we've seen so far? Because we've had a lot of incredible opening matches. And for me, it is still uncensored with Dean and Eddie, but where would you rank this in terms of what you can remember from our podcast so far? Where would this rank in your book?
It's definitely top 5. I think Dean and Eddie still holds that top spot. Yes. There was another Ultimo Dragon match that I really liked. But this would be like 3 or 4 up there, like 3rd or 4th.
Yes, I would put it in the exact same spot. That has number 3 written all over it, my dude. Fantastic opening matchup. Backstage again. Lee Marshall trying to get an interview. We should have just had this segment.
Exactly. I don't know why.
No need to cut, but whatever. The Steiners come to the locker room. They're trying to bust in. They're trying to break it down, trying to get a war in quickly.
Yeah.
Nash comes out. He says, I want Patrick to be the ref. I want Patrick as the referee. Patrick. I want Patrick.
Yeah.
And then he just spits at Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Just whatooey.
Which is just a terrible idea.
Yeah, because Scott Steiner, he decks somebody. He decks a security guard trying to swing at Nash. Nash closes the door and he gets maced right in the eyes.
Yep.
Does Scott Steiner. He gets taken down and handcuffed. He is screaming. It is a wild scene.
Yeah, like they're trying to put the handcuffs on him. He's screaming. He's like, Rick!
Yeah.
Rick!
Help me, Rick! Help me!
Like, where is Rick?
Rick is being pressed up against the wall.
But to be fair, this is the best way I think they could have written off one of the the Steiner brothers to have it a one-on-one affair.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the possibilities that they could have done, I feel like this was like the best one.
We will get into it once we get to the match itself, because I have quite a few grievances from top to bottom. But what I don't have a grievance with is our next match, which is the Women's World Title match.
I know a lot of people forgot about that title,
but it still exists. So did I. So did I. But in the back of my mind, I knew that Akira fucking Hokuto was lurking.
Yeah.
And it is Medusa challenging for the championship. Akira Hokuto, of course, being led to the ring. Thank God, breathing life into the room. Sonny Bono. Yes. Akira Hokuto, once again, right out the gate. The screaming, the hair whips. It's beautiful. I mean, just
listen, these two girls have amazing chemistry together.
Yes.
Sad that this match didn't go as long as their previous one, because I was hyped for this match when I saw it on the card, because their last match was fucking incredible. So I was expecting the same thing for this. It was still good.
Yeah.
Just it didn't get enough time to do what it.
It only went about 5 minutes, just about that. Choking in the corner and total control. A scoop slam, but Medusa slides out during the pin attempt. It brings out like the sling blade like takedowns. She did it like 3 times, taking down the head. The Trish Stratus corner, the handstand, and the Frankensteiner down. You know, Akira bites Medusa in the leg, and you can actually see the mark for the rest of the match. Sonny Ono keeps attacking as well. He's like choking her on the apron, punching her in the head. Medusa is just no-selling it, just beating the crap out of Sonny Bono. Medusa gets the drop kick from the second rope, a German suplex. Medusa then takes out Sonny, goes for a powerbomb on Akira Hokuto, but here comes Luna Vachon, debuting Luna Vachon, who kicks Medusa right in the leg. Akira Hokuto retains.
Yeah. Not much to talk about here. Quick 5-minute match. Again, these two girls can really go, but I don't know what happened. They just weren't given the time.
No.
The Luna interference, I feel like, could have been more impactful.
Could have been.
But the fact that they got such short time, all she could do was a little kick.
Just do a little kick and get on out of there. Get on out of there. You're out of here. Time is up.
Like, honestly, if commentary didn't tell you it was Luna, you wouldn't even know, because you didn't even see her face. She came in, kick,
that's
out.
Right. She was gone.
She out of there.
Yeah. Very weird. Very weird. The back was turned to the camera. Good observation there.
Yeah.
Not a clue. Yes, match number 3 is going to be for the television title, with Regal taking on Prince Iaukea. The man, the myth, the legend, Prince Iaukea.
Versus William Regal. This is the rematch for the TV title.
Indeed.
As you guys remember, a couple weeks back, or a month ago. I'm not sure what it was.
It's been a while.
He surprisingly beat William Regal for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Then he kind of took William Regal's spot in
the match against Rey Mysterio at Super Bowl.
Yeah. Then he rematched Rey Mysterio again. So they're finally doing Prince versus William Regal, the rematch for the title.
Yes, sir.
On a pay-per-view.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And let's see how Prince Iaukea does here. He's been getting quite the little mini push on Nitros and Saturday nights.
Yeah.
He's been picking up a lot of victories. He's been gaining confidence.
Yeah. And when we first saw him, he was a bit shaky, but now he's kind of coming into his own. And what better dance partner than William Regal, right?
Have you come to accept Prince Iaukea into your heart, Just John, as World Television Champion?
Honestly, if he wasn't a champion, I would have accepted him a little more. The fact that he is a champion is kind of making me pull back a little. But again, first time seeing him, I was upset. Now I'm kind of more. I'm more familiar with his game. I kind of... On
a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the Hawaiian dance at the beginning?
It's different. It's
we've
different.
We've seen a lot of Hawaiian dances in the world of professional wrestling. Is this top tier? Would you argue that this is top tier?
Listen, early Usos, I think, had the best Hawaiian dance for their opener.
Would you consider that Hawaiian or Samoan?
Isn't it all the same?
Oh, racist.
Am I going to get canceled? Am I going to get attacked?
Yeah.
So, if we're going to differentiate them, I don't know that many Hawaiian wrestlers. I think it's just Prince. So, in fairness, he might have the best one.
Now, look at that.
Because it's just him.
Look at that. You've heard
Honestly,
it here first.
If you think about it, he might be the greatest Hawaiian wrestler ever.
Yeah, I mean, we have to put Crush in that equation.
Crush is Hawaiian?
He was Hawaiian.
This is blowing my mind.
Yes.
All right, so Prince and Crush. Be proud, Hawaiians.
There you go.
Be proud.
Varied representation. Lord Steven Regal getting some heat in the beginning, baby. Again, during a match that doesn't involve any members of the NWO whatsoever, Tony Schiavone is given a note. Scott Steiner has been arrested.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes just go, what?
And now apparently... and mind you, all the match is going on, but they don't give a shit.
No.
So apparently now Nash is gonna face Rick Steiner in a singles match for the tag team titles.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes any sense.
That's what's happening now. I would have to say this pay-per-view has got to be the most egregious case of them not calling the wrestling at all. Just focusing on NWO storylines. Because you always heard about how they wouldn't call the action. They would just talk about, what's the NWO doing? NWO. And I wasn't really feeling that throughout a lot of this portion of the podcast that we've been reviewing so far. But this pay-per-view here, I would have to say, definitely holds merit to the fact that they are just not calling this action.
I think the only one where they weren't like very NWO heavy was the Akira Medusa match, but that match also only went 5 minutes.
Exactly. So they didn't have enough time. If they were given 7 minutes, they would have plugged something. They would have put it in.
You let that match breathe a couple more minutes, they would have found something to talk about.
Yeah. The thing that I notice here about Iaukea and Regal, because obviously Regal is the ring veteran in this match, is that there are many points in the match where Prince is kind of like, he chops Regal and he's doing like a flurry of offense, and Regal will like do the heel move and he'll like beg off and he'll like be in the corner, but you can tell in the match. You have to go and watch it because you can tell that he's kind of like trying to communicate to Ikea to come in, like come in and beat me down, like get your shine here.
Yeah.
And Ikea just doesn't do it. Like Regal does it like 3 or 4 times in this match where he'll be like, oh God, no, and he's like pumping for him and making him look like $1 million, but he's in the corner and then there's just this pause. Where Ikea doesn't know what to do. That's
my thing. If it was a non-champion doing that, it's like, okay, this is part of the learning process. But the fact that he's a champion kind of makes it harder to accept.
Yeah, it's very exposing. Very exposing.
But one thing about William Regal that you will notice if you watch any of his matches, but in this one in particular, there is no wasted move with him.
Yeah.
Even in the collar elbow tie up, it could be just a regular rest hold. He makes everything look like it hurts like crazy.
Yeah.
We're like, he's making Prince look amazing, but at the same time, he's making himself look like a complete badass.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I don't think he gets... Well, he does get his credit now, but I think it should be even bigger because he's just so fucking great.
Yes, there were points. There's a couple of points in the match where he's like doing the knees and he does like a double knee to the face of Ikea. It looks sore as hell, and he's probably taking like great care of him. Like there's not a scratch on Prince, so it's not like he's stiffing him.
But everything looks
rough as hell. Prince Ikea goes to the second rope for 1 point for a crossbody, but Regal just walks away, does the Samoa Joe, just nopes him, just walks away. He's like, come on, lads. Turning around, putting the boots to Ikea at one point. Ikea, and again, great William Regal shtick here. Ikea does an open hand palm strike, and Regal gets into the corner. He calls the referee over, and he's like, he just punched me in the bloody mouth.
There was one point in the match as well where he pokes Prince in the eye, and the ref's like, hey, you can't do that. He's like, no, it was an open palm. It was an open palm slap.
It was an open palm. The closing sequence of the match was quite interesting as Regal does an Irish whip reversal. Regal stops himself with the knee in the turnbuckle and looks to go for a roll-up, but Prince Ikea spins out of that roll-up into one of his own, gets a completely clean roll-up victory. Prince Ikea retains the TV title.
Yeah, man, they're really pushing this guy. For what reason? I don't know, but...
For what reason, indeed, because the next night he loses the television title.
Wait, so who does he... if you say William Regal, I'm a flip.
It was not William Regal. It was not William Regal. Oh my goodness. I would need to look up the name of who he loses it to. But it's against somebody you wouldn't expect.
Oh boy.
But yes, he loses it the next night on Monday Nitro.
I guess that experiment, they're done with that experiment.
They're finished with it. All
right. Well,
but a good match. It was probably the best showing, I think, from Ikea.
Yeah. His second match with Ray and this one were his better outings. Again, we're going to review all these pay-per-views, so
absolutely
we'll see how far if he even comes back. But yeah, the last 2 showings were decent. Like, it's nothing crazy, but it wasn't a terrible match.
Regal with the post-match attack and the Regal stretch.
Yes.
Yes, putting the boots into Ikea, making him look like a right old shit before the end. To the top of the stage with my God, Gene.
Yep. He's with Ric Flair. Who's cutting a promo about an announcement that he has, saying that he's coming back into the ring at Slamboree.
That's right.
With who is it? Kevin
Green. Yes.
I don't know who that is.
He was fired from football.
Oh.
Yes, he was fired from, I believe, the Green Bay Packers. Is that a team?
Yeah, that is a team. That is a team. Okay, well, they're going to...
fired, and Ric Flair has asked for him to come aboard the World Wrestling
is this the match that you were saying that's going to be? Oh, boy.
Indeed.
Okay.
In order to take on the New World Order in any version that Hollywood Hogan so desires.
And I'm pretty sure that's going to be Hulk and Rodman.
Oh, we shall see. We shall see, sir, what the
I'm
next
calling it sick.
month... Oh, yeah.
If that happens, I'm calling it sick.
Well, we just postponed for 3 weeks at least. One way or another, it's going to happen. Ric Flair cuts a mighty fine promo, talks about Roddy Piper, kind of, talks about Arn Anderson, kind of, talks about the Four Horsemen being a unit, kind of. Ends off with it's kind of heartbreaking, honestly, where Ric Flair's just kind of like, we're kind of aimless here, guys. I don't have a lot going on, and I'm just endorsing Kevin Green.
Oh boy.
But I'll be back in Flair country next month.
The fact that he's lasted till 2022 is crazy to me.
What's interesting,
because in the 90s he was so defeated, and in the early 2000s he was so defeated.
Honestly,
so for the fact that he's lasted this long is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, what's amazing to me is that on our podcast so far in WCW, we have only seen him in interviews.
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a match yet.
That's it in WCW.
Yeah,
of all places. Magic. Match number 4, the Public Enemy versus Jeff Jarrett and Mongo.
Steve McMichaels. This match was a match that had people in it. The whole storyline is Jeff Jarrett and Steve Mongo are trying to
woo his wife.
Where they're trying to pretend that the Four Horsemen are a solid unit and that there's no cracks in the armor. You know, him and Steve did a little double strut in the ring.
Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett is trying to fuck his wife.
Oh my God.
And of course, we have the Public Enemy. Yay.
Your favorite group of
wonderful.
all time.
Yeah, so we have these rat bastards, the Public Enemy, Mongo, and the boring ass Jeff Jarrett.
And Deborah. Deborah's also there.
Let's do this. They have the audacity, the announce team, to say that this is a much anticipated match. They were supposed to have it in uncensored, but the Four Horsemen were dragged into the Roddy Piper feud.
Yeah.
They were then supposed to have it on Monday Nitro, but it didn't happen. So now we're here. Months in the making, they say.
And also, if they wanted like a ECW guy just for like the extreme part of it, there were so many people to pick from.
Yeah, they could have cherry picked anybody.
They could have picked so many different people.
Throw money at them. Just throw money.
And they picked the fucking worst.
Rocco standing off against Mongo. But after some pandering and some pantomime, Jarrett clotheslined to Rocco Rock. Mongo takes out Johnny Grunge and both men strut.
Yeah.
The crowd is lit up. The crowd is on fire for them.
They've been on fire the whole night. Yep. So I guess it's just carrying on from the earlier matches.
Jeff Jarrett gets Grunge in an abdominal stretch, and Mongo, grabbing the arm and pulling the double team, the cheat. And here's where I would like to discuss who are the faces and who are the heels. Because I normally say, like, in jest, in some cases, like, oh, who's face, who's heel, like when Val Venus, when we're covering the Attitude Era podcast. I said that in jest because it was just funny. Because there was still a definitive, like, face and heel. It was just, some of them were cool. Mongo and Jarrett are not cool.
And they're definitely not faces.
Yeah, the Public Enemy are not cool.
Yeah.
But they haven't been considered heels on our podcast.
And that's the thing, because Jeff Jarrett and Steve aren't faces.
No.
Even if they want to pretend to be, they're not faces. They haven't done anything that makes them
nothing redeeming.
Yeah.
At all.
So but yeah, and then Public Enemy is just kind of Public Enemy. Like they're not faces, they're not heels.
Yeah. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
And Deborah, you've got Deborah on the outside, and people fucking loathe the appearance of Deborah.
Yeah.
They cannot stand this woman. So it's like, who's heel? Who's face?
And this is the whole thing about this match. You have Public Enemy, who's just kind of there. They're not either of the two things. Jeff Jarrett and Steve McMichaels and Deborah, who as a package people absolutely hate. You have the commentary team dicking around in the commentary booth. So it's like, what are we like? I was watching the match and I'm like, what's happening right now?
What is the purpose?
Like, this just feels like a mess. Like the commentary team doesn't give a shit. The fans, I guess, are cheering just to cheer.
Just because it's Horseman.
Yeah.
Just because it's Horseman. That's
but there's just nothing here. You know, closer to the end, one of the Public Enemy guys, I don't even care. Mm-hmm. He tries to put Deborah through a table. Jeff Jarrett stops him with a chair shot.
Yeah.
They put Jeff Jarrett on the table. They try to do an elbow drop through the table.
That's right.
Of course, Jeff Jarrett just gets up. He goes through the table by
Johnny Grunge going through the table
because they're just crash test dummies at this point.
Meanwhile, speaking of crash test dummies, at the top of the entranceway, Mongo with an Irish whip to rock through the steers, through the cows, and Dusty Rhodes with a classic call. He's like, hey, we got 2 cows down. We got 2 cows down on the outside, and we got a man on the inside who's gone through the table. We got 2 cows down.
Oh my God.
Everybody is back in the ring. Jeff Jarrett gets a hot tag. He's running wild, but Rocco Rock grabs the Halliburton briefcase while everybody is distracted. Yep. Gets into the ring, goes on to the first turnbuckle for no reason, comes off. I'm bored just reiterating the match once again, but Rocco Rock hits Jeff Jarrett in the back of the head with the Halliburton. Johnny Grunge doesn't even bother actually pinning. He just sits up and puts a hand on his thigh, on Jeff Jarrett's thigh, for the 1, 2, 3.
Listen, there's a theme going on in WCW where every pay-per-view, right in the middle, there's a match that is just fucking awful.
Yes.
Like, I've kind of noticed that. Every pay-per-view we do, the 4th or 5th match, like right in the middle, it's always the worst fucking match ever. And this is what we got here. And I'm a Jeff Jarrett fan, and I hated this match.
This is dog shit.
This match was terrible.
Dog shit.
Yeah, if you guys are going to rewatch the pay-per-view, which you should, just skip this one.
I'm ashamed.
You should just
ashamed of this match.
Pass this one along.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Public Enemy, Jeff Jarrett, and Mongo, who actually seemed like the only credible person in the match.
Yeah, this was,
Oh, wow. Next match, folks. Match number 5 is the U.S. heavyweight title on the line as Dean Malenko defends against Chris Benoit. Of course, these men are classic, technically gifted, unbelievable, perfectly sound. Why didn't you watch the match, John?
Listen, I knew I was gonna love it, but for reasons I didn't want to watch it.
Let's discuss the elephant in the room. That young Chris Benoit. Yes, many years ago. Many
eons.
Yeah, committed a crime. A heinous crime. Very terrible crime. Inexcusable crime.
Yes.
This is the true crime section of the Colossal Tussle podcast.
back to first 48.
Yes. So have you not watched any Chris Benoit matches since that time period?
Like, I
on purpose?
I watched the there was a triple threat match with him, Triple H, and I forgot who the third guy was.
Shawn Michaels?
Was it Shawn Michaels?
Probably.
Yeah.
Are you talking about WrestleMania 20?
Yeah.
When he wins the title?
Yeah. So I've watched that.
Yeah.
I've watched, a couple of like the ones that people are like, you have to go out of your way to see it. But yeah, other than that, I've rarely watched any of his stuff. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Do you get the icky tummy? Do you get the icky feels?
Yeah, it just feels weird. Yeah, it feels weird, especially with his WCW run, because he obviously has woman.
He does
the whole time.
He's got a woman right at his side piece.
Yeah, so his WWE run, it's easier to watch because it's just him. But his WCW run, him coming out with woman and all that stuff, it's kind of, I don't know, like it just feels weird. It feels weird.
Can you separate the man from the wrestler?
Oh yeah, for most things I can. Again, it's just the image of him coming out with woman that just, it doesn't sit right with me. But yeah, I can still watch like his WWE runs or like any of his matches that she's not in. But yeah, when it's him and her coming out, I don't know. It just feels like it feels weird. It feels weird. I don't enjoy myself. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that I picked the perfect timepiece to review.
I've gone any year. You picked the
where I have to go it alone for at least one match on each pay-per-view. One time where we both didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And then we both...
I watched that. I watched one time.
Yeah.
I forgot which one it was, but I watched one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got through that, okay.
Yeah, I had to stop it when I saw the entrance. But if I skip the entrance, I can get through it a little bit.
All right, good. Well, this was a fine match.
I bet it was.
This was a great match. Benoit's hand was bleeding profusely for no reason.
Wait, what?
It was just an extremely bloody hand throughout the entire match. I don't know what he did.
Oh my God.
But right at the knuckle, he was just bleeding.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but these men, a technical masterpiece. So this is going to sound really weird. This is going to sound very weird.
Oh my God.
But as I was watching this match, in my spare time, I have been reading a book about the National Wrestling Alliance and the stranglehold that they had on pro wrestling.
Okay.
A very fascinating book about how the FBI were investigating them for monopolizing wrestling in the 50s and how that nearly crippled them and all of the backstabbing and shenanigans that took place. And Buddy Rogers came up, and I'm in love with Buddy Rogers at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all of his matches, and I come across one of the matches. It's Buddy Rogers versus Luthez for the NWA title.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, a lot of what they did in that match in 1958 or whatever, a lot of it was happening in this match.
Was that the match that went like an hour and something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? This is very weird. Because, Chris Benoit was kind of like in the Buddy Rogers role doing some of the moves. And then Dean Malenko was full on Luthez. Very interesting. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this match. Chris Benoit with a savage old chop to Dean Malenko. The crowd lights up from that. Dean with a camel clutch. But Benoit is able to get out of it with a shot in the arm and a big old suplex. Woman is screaming like a banshee, says Dusty Rhodes. And then Bobby is like, oh, screaming like a banjo? What are you talking about?
Bobby loves to rile him up.
Loves it. Loves it. And Dusty Rhodes was getting very upset in this match, talking about how a woman is a harlot, a charlatan. Dusty Rhodes is like, you can't trust any woman. You can't trust any woman in the night, especially that woman on the ass hat. You got that woman on the ass hat, it's going to be nothing but problems. And Bobby the Brain is just like, I don't understand what you're talking about. A woman, you got to do what you got to do. She is standing by her man.
Oh my God, Dusty Rhodes is hilarious.
Incredible and seamless counter comes when Dean Malenko tries to go for a suplex, but Benoit counters and turns it into a reverse suplex out of nowhere. And it was brilliant. Jacqueline comes down to the ring.
Okay.
And here's where things get a little spicy. Jacqueline comes down to the ring and beats the ever-loving shit out of woman. Just beats the piss out of her. Jimmy Hart comes down to the ring.
Okay.
And tries to steal the United States Championship. Why does everybody want to steal this belt? Eddie Guerrero, with his arm in a sling, having been injured over the course of the last month, Eddie Guerrero comes down to the ring and says, "Don't you steal that belt. Don't you take that belt, Jimmy Hart." And Jimmy Hart is saying, "It's yours, baby. It's yours. It's your title. It's yours. I'm getting it for you, baby."
Oh, my God.
In the middle of all this, Dean Malenko suplexes Chris Benoit from the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring onto the floor. Arn Anderson comes down.
I thought you said he was having surgery.
Arn Anderson comes down to the ring while we get a short shot of woman being held up against the ring post while she's being beaten by Jacqueline still.
Hasn't anyone helped her?
No one's helping her. Arn Anderson comes in, nails Dean Malenko in the back of the skull. Throws Dean Malenko back into the ring for Benoit. Okay. Kevin Sullivan comes down to the ring. Kevin Sullivan comes down to the ring, passes by Arn Anderson. He says, "Let me pass." And Arn Anderson says, "I physically can't do anything to stop you due to my medical condition." So Sullivan, with a pool cue, gets up onto the apron, cracks Benoit on the back of the head. And the referee finally notices someone has done something awry.
There's like 9 people at ringside.
and calls for the bell. It is a double disqualification finish.
Oh my God.
What the hell happened here?
I love how there's so many people outside, and after like Kevin Sullivan, that's when he's like, all right, let me call it.
Time to call it a day. Immediately as the DQ is rung, they grab hold of Eddie Guerrero, Sullivan, Jacqueline, and Jimmy Hart, put the U.S. title around him, and kidnap him.
Oh my God.
See now, John, whenever you skip a match, and I cannot stress this enough, whenever you skip a match, something monumental takes place.
This is like the 3rd time it's happened.
Yes.
This is like the 3rd time. Some of the weirdest shit.
Now I'm only going to warn you, but one more time, to watch the whole pay-per-view in its entirety.
You know what's so fucked up? I was gonna skip the Public Enemy match,
yes,
but I'm like, no, because when I skip shit, something amazing happens. So I watched the whole Public Enemy match and nothing happens.
Nothing.
I skip this one and Eddie gets kidnapped. Fuck. This is oh my God.
So that is that. It was going in places where it was going to be just a masterpiece. That match was going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Someone in the back was like,
the
no.
in-ring action was on another level. How smooth and how perfect these two work together. Mm-hmm. It's stupid. Like, it's stupid how well these guys work together. And the idea that they never had a world title program, even a United States, like even a lengthy United States program, it's absurd to me that this never happened over championship gold.
Yeah.
Because, like, no one works like these two. No one. And when you put Eddie Guerrero in that mix, and even Six, if Six was in this mix as well, Jesus Christ. But it just never seems to happen.
Enough of that cruiserweight bullshit. It's time for the big boys.
Yes, big boys indeed. A singles match for the World Tag Team Championships.
Yes, you heard that right.
As champion Kevin Nash takes on challenger Rick Steiner.
Yeah, Nash, he comes out with Six, Ted, and Nick Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because most of the NWO, I guess, don't want to be there.
Why is this happening? Why? You said earlier that the best possible outcome that they could have come up with was macing Scott Steiner in the face.
How else would they write him off?
I don't deny that. That out of all possibilities to write a man off, spraying and macing them in the face and arresting them is probably top way to do it. But my counter argument is, why get rid of him at all? Why not just have a substitute if you're gonna put Six out there anyway?
Because Six is a cruiserweight. He's not a big, beefy boy.
Buff Bagwell? Scott Norton? Michael Wall Street?
So as the match starts,
Big Bubba?
Rick starts off fast and furious, baby.
I can't understand
Listen.
why they thought this was the best course of action. This is such a weird show.
And it's gonna get weirder.
Yeah.
It's gonna get weirder.
But like Six is right there. Palling around with Kevin Nash. Six could have been bopping around.
And he interferes so much in this match.
He's not injured. Nothing's wrong with him. He could have been jumping around and flying around like crazy for Scott Hall or for Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner.
Yeah, for you.
Could have been bumping around like crazy. And if Six did do the job, like if Six took the loss, then you could easily just say, well, we're not wrestling under like Freebird rules. The title wasn't on the line. Six isn't the tag team champion.
Yeah.
The Steiners still get a win, but they still get screwed out of the title. You can still continue this feud.
Yeah.
It's easy. And even if Six and Kevin Nash go over and the titles are on the line, then it can still be like, well, the Steiners couldn't prepare for Six. They were expecting to wrestle the outsiders. So
yeah.
What?
Listen, man.
If I can book it.
It was the 90s. It's a different times. You know, the cocaine was pure.
It's a singles match, John.
For the tag titles.
And there's only one title in the building. Scott Hall has his title.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have even been wrestling for both titles tonight.
Yeah, no, because if they won, they would have had to done like a lay cool thing and break the title in half.
What the fuck? Go for it. What happens in this train wreck?
Listen, it was still a decent match. Rick is, of course, angry that his brother got maced and arrested.
Yeah. They've been attempted murdered twice. Rick Steiner specifically has been attempted murdered twice. Steiner has been maced in the face.
Yeah. They won the titles and then got
immediately taken away.
So yeah, it hasn't been the greatest.
This has been a horrible 6 months for Steiners. A horrible 6 months for Steiners. So, let's see if they get any comeuppance in this singles match.
So now that we've explained everything that's happened to them, you can kind of see why Rick is a bit upset at the start of this match.
Reasonably.
But that doesn't last for long because Nash, of course, overpowers him.
Yeah.
Clothesline, back elbows in the corner. You know.
The 6 moves of doom.
The 6 moves of doom.
Kevin Nash does the same shit over and over and over again. Yeah. And I like Kevin Nash on the mic. I like Kevin Nash on the stick.
Yeah.
In the ring, he's fucking abysmal.
That's why he works so good as a tag team guy. Because have the other guy do all the work. You come in and do the
big man shit.
Yeah, 6 moves of doom.
Yeah.
We're good. But when it's just Nash.
Yeah. You do 3 moves in the first half. Tag out, tag back in. You do the 3 moves in the second half.
But when it's just Nash, it gets a little crazy. Rick goes for a belly to belly suplex.
Yeah.
Almost botches it, but he gets just enough.
Yeah.
To not kill
Nash. Yeah.
Rick with some power slams. Nash Irish whips him to the ropes. 6 pulls the ropes down. He goes tumbling right over.
He does indeed.
Which again goes to your point as to why 6 just isn't the other.
Why not?
6 then throws Rick back in the ring.
I would just love an explanation. As to why this makes no sense.
Listen, Nash hits the big boot. NWO's in total control.
Yep.
Again, you thought it was gonna be Rick Steiner's comeuppance, but it's not.
4-on-1.
Yeah, he's getting his ass kicked.
Ref.
Jackknife power bomb.
He
kicks out.
He does.
He gets a little bit of momentum. Manages to do the middle rope bulldog. Lands a couple clotheslines. Distraction by 6. Nash lands a clothesline of his own. Again,
this match is a dull affair.
6 removes the turnbuckle.
With assistance from DiBiase.
Yeah, because apparently he couldn't untie it.
They can't even get that right.
Nash does the snake eyes on the corner.
Yep.
Picks him up. Does it one more time. Ted DiBiase gets on the apron. He's like, it's enough.
Please, stop. Yeah. No, please.
We've done enough to this man.
No more. We've nearly killed him twice. We
flipped his car over, maced his brother. Now this is just.
You spit on Scott. You spit on him earlier.
Kevin Nash then goes up to Ted and he's like, hey, I tell you when enough is enough. You know? And then he goes for another snake eyes.
He does it again.
And at that point, Ted DiBiase just
walks out.
He just walks out.
Yeah.
Nash hits a jackknife powerbomb for the win.
That's it. That's it. Nick Patrick was reluctant to count the 3.
Yeah.
Nash said, you fucking count it.
Yeah.
You fucking count it, you piece of shit. And Nick Patrick does as he's told. The title stays with Kevin Nash.
Of course.
In a match that should have never happened.
Listen, they need 8 matches for this pay-per-view. They're like, fuck it. You guys are going out there one way or another. Mean Gene we're then going to the back with Mean Gene, who's interviewing Lex Luger and the Giant before their 4 corners match.
Oh my God. We haven't talked about the promo.
Which one?
The Booker T promo. We've already passed it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Luger and the Giant come out second for the promo. We've already missed it. Oh my God.
Oh shit.
Oh my God!
It was even before the Malenko match.
It was.
Oh, we were very.
I missed it.
Well, we'll play it now. We'll talk about it now.
Never fear, ladies and gentlemen, because just for that insubordination, we are going to play you the uncut version.
Yes.
The unedited version of Booker T wanting the WCW World Heavyweight title. That's what we're going to do. And you know what else we're going to do? We're doing it live. We're doing it live.
Let's do it. Let's see how this works.
Absolutely. We listen together as one audience of one.
The same thing is going to happen in this fourth quarter match.
Let me tell you something, Gino. If you out here talking about a clique, the only clique you need to know about is the Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry. See, because what you dealing with here is the brotherhood. It's non-stop from this point on in WCW. We take what we want, and after we take Lex Luger and the Giant, we want the gold sucker. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga.
Oh my God. And it's so sad because it was going so good. It was going so good, and then it just slips out, man.
It was a fantastic promo. It was a great promo. I mean, Sherry got off to a rocky start.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like she's trying to remember her lines.
Yeah.
Then you hand it off to Booker T, and Booker T is like a lightning rod. He's right there. He's like, he knows what he wants. He knows his purpose. And he knows what he wants to say. Every single bit of it.
The part that makes me laugh every time, if you go back and watch the video, is as soon as he says it, you just see Mean Gene turn straight to Stevie, like, as Sister Sherry just consoling him. Like,
yeah,
it's all right. It's all right.
Booker, as soon as it leaves his lips, he's like, "Oh no, oh no."
And what's funny too is that if you see the censored version, it's even funnier.
Yeah.
Because they replace the N-word with sucker.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he's just mad. Like mad upset at the fact that he said sucker twice or something. He's like, God damn it, I said it 2 times.
Not twice. Yes, it is just one of the best fuck-ups ever.
Yeah.
Just one of the best fuck-ups ever.
Yeah.
And I mean, coming from a black guy, it's fine, right? Like
it is, but you're still in a professional setting.
Shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen on national TV, but
or on
live
pay-per-view,
on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's fine.
He could see there's worse things he could have said, but again,
could have used the hard R.
Yeah, professional setting. He probably was like, "Oh no."
Yes, in the thrill of the moment.
Yeah.
Apparently, Eric Bischoff was like, all right, well, it's done now.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do about it, right?
When Hogan heard about it, apparently he was talking about it in catering and just laughing and joking about it, probably using the word himself.
Yeah. From the stories we've heard, he was probably
leaning
into that one a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I can't believe that we missed it, but we got to experience it together as one.
Yeah,
I feel closer to my colossal tussle brethren than I ever have before. So Lex Luger and the Giant, they have themselves a promo, not as consequential as that of the Harlem Heat promo by any means. And then we move on. We move right into the Four Corners match for no reason. The Harlem Heat versus the Giant, Lex Luger, although it is, 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1.
Yeah, this is the dumbest match I've seen WCW put together. Like, they've had some dumb matches, but this one is very dumb.
Yeah.
Because it's not a fatal 4-way where all 4 men are in the ring.
Yeah.
It's a 4 corners match.
Yeah.
So 2 men start and 2 men are on the outside, and you have to tag into the other person.
Yeah.
Which is fine if it was just 4 random wrestlers. But here we have 2 tag teams.
Yeah.
So this whole match is just a tag team.
It's just a tag match.
There was the points where, like, there's like some dissension between Harlem Heat, and they're like, oh, what would happen if they get tagged in?
Yeah.
Or what would happen if Andre and the Giant and Lex Luger.
Yeah. What if they have to fight?
And those questions were answered pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And Harlem Heat did not fight.
No.
And the Giant and Lex Luger, they fought for a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
No.
And then you can see the crowd die off in this match because at the beginning they're like, yo, what's gonna happen? Once each team got in with their respective partner and the crowd saw that they weren't gonna fight each other, you can see them just go like, oh.
Yeah.
And just kind of like lean back into their chair.
It's just a random tag match with sprinklings of one-on-one hope.
and it would have been good, but like they kind of kill that like very early in the match.
Yeah.
So the rest of the match is literally just a tag match.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than a tag match.
Nothing special.
They're tagging out to their own partners, and that's it. They're doing tag team maneuvers at the same time.
Yes, they are. It's all just very confusing.
Yeah.
It's just, why wouldn't you, it just doesn't make sense.
And the Giant, in his promo, he did a good job of trying to explain what was it's Hogan trying to put brother against brother and trying to separate us and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, but putting you in a match isn't going to do that. You just don't have to fight your brother.
No.
That's it.
I'm just... again, weird pay-per-view and just weird pay-per-view concepts. It's just like you're trying these new things, but these new things don't make sense.
Yeah.
You're bringing something new to the table, but there's no good foundation to it at all.
Yeah, especially when in this era with the whole ratings war, everyone's trying to think of new ways to get people to view the product. WWE had a lot of success with their concepts and stuff like that. Yeah. I feel like with WCW, they would just overcomplicate shit.
The rules.
They
would just add rules.
Yeah, like everything was just so overcomplicated. Like even their version of the Royal Rumble with World War III, it's like good concept, but then you add a third ring and then you add like 2 other sets of announcers. And it gets complicated.
And once the rings have emptied, you come to 1 ring, and there's still 90 announcers, and it's just
like every WCW thing is a great concept, but then you guys just overcomplicate it, and now I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with this. It's like, okay, you're trying to pit brother against brother and all this stuff, but then you forgot the fact that it was a tag team thing. Same thing that happened with the Fatal 4-Way tag match where they tagged in both of the outsiders and then they're like, oh, I'm just going to pin you. So it's again,
silly business.
It's very silly business.
Silly business. Towards the end of the match, I mean, again, it's tag team wrestling, where the Giant and Luger are kind of isolating the 2 members of Harlem Heat. Finally, it looks as if the Giant is going to go deliver the choke slam onto that of Stevie Ray, while Booker T has been sent to the outside, but instead, he tags in Lex Luger. Lex Luger does the torture wreck onto Stevie Ray and gets the victory. I can't help but point out this very specific thing that the Giant said in his promo, in which he said that the best man will win. Now, the Giant was on the way to being the best man and just allowed Lex Luger to win.
Yeah.
So Lex Luger, in theory, is not the best man at all.
Listen, and here's like, I've been telling you this whole time, I've been a fan of this Lex Luger run.
Mm-hmm.
He's won my standout star for like the last like 3 shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've really been getting hyped for him getting a title shot.
Yes.
But this isn't how I wanted it. This isn't how I wanted him to get his title shot. It just makes him seem like such a I don't even know. Like again, I really wanted him to get the title shot. I was hyped. I've been loving his ascension to him versus NWO and everything he's been doing, but to get it just handed to him, it just didn't sit right. In this random match. It didn't sit right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, be that as it may, Lex Luger.
The same funny feeling I get when I see Chris and Woman I got when I saw this. I was like, this doesn't feel right.
What a comparison. What a comparison.
Guys.
Wow. Wow, Lex. Jesus. Well, be that as it may, Lex Luger will be challenging for the WCW Heavyweight title against Hollywood Hogan.
Yep.
At a later date. To be determined.
To be determined.
Indeed.
Which I feel like is most of Hulk Hogan's title reign.
Yeah. We'll factor it in at some point.
Like, you'll get your title shot.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
At one point.
Yeah. We'll have to go to the committee.
No, the second that you win a title shot, they just hand you an IOU.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It is now time for the main event.
Yes.
Macho Man Randy Savage versus Diamond Dallas Page. Both with Elizabeth and with Kimberly.
That's her fucking name.
In a no disqualification match. Yep. No holds bears.
Yep.
Yes. They are making this a huge deal. Huge deal main event. You've got Michael Buffer. You've got a special backstage entrance for Macho Man Randy Savage, in which he says, "I'm gonna murder the bum."
Yeah.
You have a pre-match interview with Diamond Dallas Page, in which he gets to say some things, and Kimberly gets to say, "Rage is a beautiful emotion, and I'm gonna let it ride." You have pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
To introduce the contest.
Even before the match starts as well, Savage again grabs the mic, and he says that it's not going to be the big day for DDP. No. It's going to be his last day.
There you go.
So kind of adding on to the whole "I'm going to murder this bum" thing.
Yeah, I'm going to murder the bum. I'm going to murder the bum. Is what he says.
Which is crazy because when you tell me that this feud becomes like one of the best feuds of the year, it's kind of weird because the way it starts off, you would feel like they've already had
a huge feud,
like a huge feud already. But this is like the first, so I'm excited to see how this whole thing plays out because they're building this thing like it's for the title.
Yeah, this is a mega match. So Paige and Macho Man, they start outside the ring. They're fighting. No DQ stipulation, of course. Back into the ring, Diamond Dallas Page tries for a diamond cutter, not to be. Fighting into the crowd now, they're going to the backstage area, but instead it is garbage cans aplenty.
Yep.
Diamond Dallas Page nailing him in the face with a garbage can, taking him back to ringside for Macho Madness. Macho Madness grabs hold of Kimberly Page and forces him in front, and then Elizabeth, who has a role in WCW now, comes up from behind.
She has a superpower where you just can't see her even if she's there.
Exactly.
So it's the perfect...
Until it's time.
Yeah.
Until it's time for her to pounce and use those claws. And she claws at the back of Diamond Dallas Page.
Because again, I might be blind, but I didn't see her sneak up. She just appeared behind DDP. I was like, this is amazing.
She did. She's something else. Macho Man attacking everyone and anyone as he beats down Diamond Dallas Page. He goes to get a chair. He moves Michael Buffer. He uses the chair on Diamond Dallas Page. The referee, Mark Curtis, takes it away. He says, "Nuh-uh-uh." But Macho Man says, "Nuh-uh-uh, I'm going to wait it a bum." And he goes to the outside. He grabs David Pinzer, slaps the shit out of David, punches him down, throws him away, takes the chair of David Pinzer.
And what's funny, before he goes into the ring, he stomps on David some more.
Just kicks him in the head.
I'm like, what did he do to you?
He is getting heat in capital letters.
Yes.
Okay? He tries to use the chair again, but DDP gets a chance to use it instead. But Macho Man is still able to stay in control with the clothesline. He goes right back to the outside to beat down David Pinzer again and grab himself the ring bell. He's gonna try and cripple him. You know, he heads upstairs with the ring bell, but Kimberly takes it away and runs off.
Mm-hmm. And Savage, even though he doesn't have the ring bell, he's just like, fuck it, I'm still going to land my finisher.
He comes down with a flying nothing, but gets the boots in the face.
Yep.
Then tries to go for a diamond cutter, does Diamond Dallas Page, but it gets turned into the backslide low blow. Mm-hmm. Classic stuff. Then tries to get a cover in, but not to be. And then he takes Mark Curtis, does Macho Man, and delivers a punch, a slap, a kick, and a pile driver.
Yeah. And he goes for the pin again and notices there's no referee and gets angry. And I'm like, you did this.
After he delivers probably one of the prettiest looking elbow drops that I've ever seen him do. An amazing one. But yeah, no referee in sight. Macho Man is healing it up something wicked tonight. He is on another level of heelishness. Yes, he is healing it up something wicked tonight. Beautiful elbow drop. Nobody there. Patrick comes down at the behest of Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash grinning from ear to ear. But Diamond Dallas Page gets out of the body slam, turns it into a diamond cutter himself. Nick Patrick.
Ooh, a huge pop.
A huge pop.
Fucking
massive.
Crazy.
One of the beautiful ones. Nick Patrick is humming and hawing. He's saying, well, would you look at this situation here? What do we have here? Diamond Dallas Page rolls into the cover. Nick Patrick, solid, clean as a sheet. 1, 2, 3. The biggest win in Diamond Dallas Page's career up to this point.
Nash then comes down to confront Nick Patrick.
He does. Grabs
him by the neck while he's checking on Savage.
Yeah, he's saying, don't you go anywhere, Patty boy. Don't you go anywhere.
Then a whole bunch of NWO members start coming down, which again adds to your point as to why they didn't find a replacement, but whatever. We're going to leave that in the past.
He couldn't. Not just, he couldn't have a replacement.
So after the whole NWO comes down, they attack Nick Patrick, land a jackknife powerbomb on Nick Patrick.
Macho Man springs to his feet.
Yeah, they take out DDP. Yep. Savage grabs DDP's wife.
Kimberly.
And out of all people, Eric Bischoff is like, hey.
He's the voice of reason.
Yeah, calm down. Let's,
cool your jets.
Cool your jets. And of course, Savage being the Zen master that he is, gracefully slaps the shit out of Eric Bischoff.
Pushes him down.
Knocks him down. And the whole NWO had to separate him because he's just completely losing it. And we just cut, and that's the pay-per-view.
That's right. That's right. We go off the air with the NWO in tatters. Hogan is hamming it up with Dennis Rodman. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. But when he comes back, you sure know he's not going to sell a damn thing about it. Gonna act like nothing happened. The NWO is completely fine.
NWO is fine.
Yeah, the NWO is great.
Nothing wrong here.
Sting has aligned himself with the WCW definitively. Diamond Dallas Page gets one up on the second in command, basically, with Randy Savage. The Kevin Nash is going to be turning on everybody. Sending Nick Patrick out the NWO. Ted DiBiase saying, this is too much for me, brother. Six is unable to wrestle for reasons unknown. Scott Hall is MIA. The NWO is fine.
Just fine.
I love that in the closing moments, the angle that's being set up as a potential match is Eric Bischoff versus Randy Savage. Because they hold back Eric Bischoff like he's ready to throw down with the Macho Man.
Oh, man.
Match of the night, standout star, and the overall show grade for that of Spring Stampede 1997. John, what do you have for me and why?
Match of the night, I'll go Savage DDP. It was very close between this one and Ray Ultimo Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just like the theatrics of the pay-per-view.
Oh, yes.
You know, it fit. Everything was beautiful. It's a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little bit of wrestling here. You had some crowd fighting. It was pretty. It was a really good, solid main event. You have that whole closing angle. So I enjoyed it a lot. So that's why I'm giving it match of the night.
Indeed.
Standout star, I'm going with Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash.
He really upped his game in this where, you know, I'm not saying he should be, but he felt like the proper heel. Like, I feel like NWO has been kind of in like this cool realm where it's like, yeah, we're just cool, man. We're just vibing.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash, this pay-per-view kind of turned it up, and he's like, no, we're evil. We're proper heels. And he made himself feel like, you know, of course, Savage and Hogan are the top, you know, they're, you know, the more popular ones, but he felt like he's right up there with Hogan, Savage. He's probably like the third, fourth guy, right?
Yes.
Like, that's how I felt after this pay-per-view. I'm not sure what's going to happen going forward. But I really like how he elevated himself, and he actually made NWO feel like a heel group and not just like, hey, we're just these cool guys, right?
I would agree with you. Kevin Nash looked like a killer coming out of the show. Yes.
You know, so bad that even Ted had to walk out.
Yeah.
Overall show grade, I'll give it 4 out of 5.
4.
I really like this pay-per-view.
Really?
I really liked it. The opener was amazing.
Okay.
Main event was great. The Kira and Medusa match, even though it was 5 minutes, it was decent. It's nothing to, like, you wouldn't skip it.
Yeah.
You know, Malenko and Benoit, even though I didn't watch it, you're telling me that was a fun time, so that's another plus. Yeah. The Four Corners match as a concept was stupid, but as a tag match, it was decent. So yeah, it was, and even the Nash and Rick match, even though it was really dull, it's still built onto the overall storyline that they're doing with the Outsiders and the Steiner. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pay-per-view, start to finish, except for the Public Enemy match.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you're out there and you're a Public Enemy fan, then this is a perfect fucking pay-per-view.
Look at that. You get everything you want.
Yeah. If you're a Public Enemy fan somewhere, or if you're a Mongol fan,
tell me why.
I won't judge you.
I want an explanation. I want an explanation for your ridiculousness. Somebody doesn't want speaking privileges no more.
So yeah, if you're a Mongol fan or a Public Enemy fan, then this is a straight. There's no skips in this pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're gangbusters for you. Match of the night for me, I have to agree, Macho Man versus Diamond Dallas Page. Yep. In turn, my standout star is the Macho Man Randy Savage. Fair. He was healing it up.
Fair.
Yeah, gave me serious Hollywood Hogan vibes the first time.
Yeah. With
Macho Man versus Hogan. And how Hogan was so heelish and so cocky and so over the top.
Yeah.
Macho Man was like that version, but uncontrollable. Like, just an absolute monster. Just an insane old man. Killing referees and announcers. And I'm gonna murder the bum.
Yeah, when you put your hands on Michael Buffer, that's another level.
That's something else.
Yeah,
you know. He did everything he could to be as heelish as possible, so that when DDP hit that diamond cutter, he was going to get the reaction that he needed to make a star out of him. DDP has been in the upper mid-card stage for years and years and years. So in order to take him seriously, I think Macho Man had it right on the head.
Yeah,
you need to be over the top, super heelish, and let him beat you. If you're going to draw money without Hulk Hogan being there, if you want to prove that you can be main event, you have to make a star out of this guy to get those return matches.
Yeah.
So Macho Man, he made the choice, apparently. DDP goes on the record as saying Macho Man was able to pick and choose who he won, who he lost. He had a lot of creative freedom. And he said, I think I'm going to take the cutter tonight. And he made a star out of DDP. And I know that that's because he wanted to make some money out of the return matches. So political maneuvering or whatever it was a smart decision by a very smart man to make DDP into a star, and it will only get better.
Yeah, because you could see his star kind of rising.
Yeah.
So I think he just needed that one big win, and Macho Man gave him that. So.
Exactly. And it was perfect in making a star, and that this match here made him a star for the rest of his career. So excellent. Good on him. The final show grade for me is going to be a slight dip. It's a 3.5. It was a perfectly fine show. I think it started strong and it ended strong, but the middle sections of this pay-per-view were either confusing or downright awful.
Yeah.
Hokuto and Medusa didn't have a lot of time. Public Enemy and Mongo McMichael and Jeff Jarrett can go screw itself. The Four Corners match was inconceivably confusing and had no business being there. A singles match for the tag team titles, deplorable, despicable, and I still want an answer. And I'm not going to get one, but it's absolutely ridiculous. And Benoit and Dean Malenko was going to be an absolute classic that you could go back and watch again and again and again until travesty ensued and 9 people showed up.
And one got kidnapped.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a middle-of-the-roads pay-per-view with a couple of glimmers of hope in between.
Yeah.
But we move on to Slamboree 1997, in which will be a 6-man tag team affair. With, on one side of the ring, Roddy Piper, a returning Nature Boy Ric Flair, and football star Kevin Green, taking on members of the NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Syxx. Are you excited?
I thought, isn't Hogan supposed to be in this?
Nope.
Isn't Scott Hall fighting demons?
Yep.
Aren't Roddy and Flair way past their prime to be the main guys in the tag team match?
Totally.
This is going to be great.
Gonna be a good tag.
This is going to be fucking
gonna be
great.
A good tag.
This is going to be amazing.
Until then, thank you so much for kicking it with us for the latest edition of the Colossal Tussle podcast. You can find us on all available podcast platforms.
Yes, they can.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher.